the other kitten. It was an ordinary morning, or at least, Whiskers thought so. The sun was stretching its golden paws across the floor. The human was sipping that mysterious bitter-smelling potion called coffee, and Whiskers was deep in his most sacred duty, attacking his own tail. Then came the sound, a faint, unfamiliar mew from the hallway. Whiskers froze mid-spin, tail still between his paws. His ears twitched like radar dishes. Another mew, slightly higher pitched this time, tiny, uncertain, and way too close. He crept toward the door, low and silent, or so he believed. In reality, his claws made an audible tap-tap-tap with each step. He peeked around the corner and saw it, a fluff ball. Smaller than him, rounder than logic should allow. With eyes so wide, they looked like they just downloaded reality for the first time. Its fur was cream-colored, its nose pink, and its tail a wobbly question mark. The intruder. Whiskers blinked. The little one blinked back. Two minds met in utter confusion. Then, without warning, the newcomer let out a squeaky, uncertain Whiskers puffed up instantly. His fur doubled in size. His tail transformed into a dramatic feather duster of doom. Monsieur was obviously a threat, possibly a declaration of war. The human appeared, smiling. Whiskers, meet Daisy. Daisy, a harmless-sounding name, suspiciously harmless. Whiskers narrowed his eyes. The human set Daisy down gently on the floor. For a moment, the two kittens stood perfectly still, eyeing each other like dueling cowboys in a spaghetti western, except fuzzier. Then Daisy sneezed. The standoff broke. Whiskers bolted under the couch in terror, bumping his head on the way in. Daisy blinked, surprised by her own power. The human laughed so hard that Whiskers from beneath the couch felt personally insulted. Minutes passed. Whiskers peeked out cautiously. Daisy was sniffing everything. The rug, the chair, his favorite toy mouse. Outrageous. She was playing with his property. He crept out, moving low and silent. Well, semi-silent. The rug betrayed him with a creak. He pounced. Not on Daisy, of course. That would be barbaric. He pounced right next to her, in a clear display of dominance. Daisy jumped, landed sideways, and hissed. The hiss sounded like a teapot warming up, tiny but dramatic. Whiskers froze, tail flicking, then backed away with the feline equivalent of, "All right, respect. Noted." The human clapped their hands together. "Play nice, you two." Easy for them to say. They weren't facing an unpredictable puffball of chaos. Daisy trotted confidently toward Whiskers, though, who instinctively backed up until his tail hit the wall. She sniffed him, nose to nose. Whiskers' eyes crossed slightly. The smell was kitten, milk, dust, and mischief. Then Daisy booped his nose. He sneezed. She giggled, or whatever the kitten equivalent of a giggle is, probably that chirpy sound that says, "I win." And just like that, something shifted. Whiskers tilted his head, curious now rather than defensive. Daisy crouched playfully, tail twitching like a tiny metronome. Challenge accepted. They began the ritual dance of kittens everywhere, the ancient art of bouncing for no reason. Daisy sprang left, Whiskers right. Both missed. They tried again. Daisy rolled over dramatically. Whiskers tripped over his own paw. The human cheered them on from the couch like a proud referee in a very fluffy boxing match. By the time they collapsed side by side, panting and wide-eyed, the room looked like a soft tornado had passed through. Toys scattered, one curtain slightly askew, and a lone slipper missing in action. Whiskers stared at Daisy. Daisy blinked back. Slowly, hesitantly, she reached out a paw and rested it on his. Whiskers looked down, then up at her, then back down again. He considered hissing, but he didn't feel like it. Instead, he gave a tiny, almost imperceptible purr. Daisy purred back, louder, brighter, unapologetically cheerful. The human smiled. "Looks like you've got a friend now, Whiskers." Friend. That was a new word. A strange word. But as Daisy leaned against him and promptly fell asleep, Whiskers realized something surprising. Having another kitten around wasn't so bad. Sure, she was noisy. Sure, she stole toys and sneezed like an air horn. But when she was next to him, the apartment felt less big, less empty. Whiskers looked at the sleeping Daisy, then at the human, then at the window where sunlight painted everything gold. He curled up beside her and thought, maybe two explorers are better than one. And for the first time since the day he'd opened his eyes, Whiskers didn't dream alone. It began, as all great adventures do, with boredom. Whiskers lay sprawled on the windowsill, his paw dangling dramatically over the edge. Daisy, the cream-colored ball of energy, was upside down on the carpet, gnawing on a feather toy that had long since lost its feather. Outside the window, the world shimmered. Trees swaying, birds fluttering, leaves spinning in tiny dances. Freedom, adventure, snacks. Inside, carpet, couch. The same suspicious-looking sock from yesterday. Whiskers sighed, a deep, tragic sigh, the kind that belongs to misunderstood artists and house cats who believe they deserve to see the world. Daisy rolled onto her paws and blinked up at him. Misrup? He stared back with gravitas. The world out there. It calls to me. Daisy tilted her head. Then, suddenly, she gasped, at least the kitten version of a gasp, a high-pitched chirp. Her eyes locked on the slightly open balcony door. The human, in their infinite foolishness, had left it ajar. A sliver of fresh air slipped through, carrying with it the scent of grass, birds, and the great unknown. Whiskers' tail twitched. Daisy's ears perked. Both stared at the door. A beat of silence. Then another. And then they moved. Whiskers jumped down, landing with the stealth of a panther who's a little too fluffy to be taken seriously. Daisy followed, nearly tripping over her own enthusiasm. Together, they crept toward the glowing rectangle of freedom. Step. Sniff. Pause. Sniff again. The air was intoxicating. It smelled like wet earth, sunlight, and possibility. Whiskers' whiskers quivered. He could hear the chirp of a distant bird, the rumble of something called traffic, and faintly, the voice of destiny whispering, "Go on, step outside." And so he did. One paw out, then another. The world expanded instantly, louder, brighter, bigger than anything he'd imagined. The breeze ruffled his fur, carrying hundreds of new smells. Daisy followed, gasping audibly at everything. The sky, the wind, the enormous green rug grass. This is it, Whiskers thought. The great escape. For about 15 seconds, it was perfect. Then a pigeon landed nearby. It was massive, practically a feathered dinosaur. It looked at them. They looked at it. Daisy froze. Whiskers' hunter instincts screamed attack. His brain screamed bad idea. His paws chose chaos. He leapt. The pigeon squawked, flapped its wings, and took off like a jet engine. Whiskers tumbled into a bush with all the grace of a rolling potato. Daisy darted after him, mewing wildly. From the bush emerged two kittens, one leafy, one panicked, both covered in twigs and glory. Whiskers puffed his chest. "Victory!" he declared in fluent kitten body language. Daisy blinked. "You missed," he ignored her. "Strategic retreat," his tail insisted. They wandered across the balcony, each discovery a marvel. A flower pot, sniffed and conquered, a garden hose, snake-shaped and suspicious, a butterfly, pure magic. Daisy tried to chase the butterfly. The butterfly won. But then, the human's voice. "Whiskers? Daisy? Where are you two?" Both kittens froze. Uh-oh, the jig was up. The human's footsteps echoed. The balcony door creaked wider. Whiskers and Daisy exchanged looks. There was still time to run, to escape into the bushes below, to live as wild, fearless adventures. Unfortunately, Daisy's paw got stuck in a flower pot. "Help!" she squeaked, wriggling in place like a chubby worm. Whiskers tugged, twisted, pushed. No luck. The human appeared in the doorway, face halfway between panic and laughter. "Oh my God! You two?" They were scooped up, flower pot and all, and carried back inside. Whiskers struggled heroically for about 3 seconds before deciding it was too much effort. Daisy simply purred, flower pot still attached like a fashionable boot. The human gently freed her, sighed, and set them both on the couch. "Little escape artists," they said, shaking their head. "You're lucky you didn't go farther." Whiskers gave Daisy a side glance. "Farther?" The word echoed in his head like a promise. She sneezed, bits of dirt puffing from her whiskers, then leaned against him sleepily. "Worth it," her purr seemed to say. Whiskers purred back, staring at the window now safely closed. The great outdoors could wait. They had seen it, smelled it, survived it, and someday they would see it again. For now, the couch was soft, the room was warm, and adventure could take a nap. The human chuckled from the kitchen. "You two are trouble." Whiskers stretched, tail flicking lazily, and gave a smug blink. "Not trouble, explorers." Outside, a butterfly fluttered past the window, free and uncatchable. Whiskers' eyes followed it just before he drifted off to sleep, dreaming, once again, of the world beyond the glass.